Welcome back. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a lovely Monday morning over here. Nice and cold once again, which is exactly how I like it because I fucking hate sweating. And what do we have today? Plenty to talk about, actually, on good old Bitcoin as we get the new weekly open, heading into, more importantly, the new monthly open for April on, I believe, Wednesday, or is that actually Thursday? Let me double check right here. Yes, it is. Oh, it is Thursday, actually. My bad on that one. And we have a great comment during the opening intro. Muheb Hoke says, will it go to 54,000, guys? Sir, that ain't anywhere far away from current price action. I suspect this might be a question in dire straits. Unfortunately, though, I do think that it probably does go down there, to be quite honest with you. But fear not, my friends. Well, maybe fear. Certainly fear, at least. But more importantly, long term. I actually still do like kind of what we're looking at, and we'll be discussing that, of course, in depth today. So with that said, I would like to wish you the best of the best and the haps of the happiest. I see Mr. New 510 in the house right now. Fuck yeah, man. How you doing, my friend? How you doing? Go on ahead and wrap this bitch up. My fucking man over there. Z-Rex, holy fucking moly, man. An OG of OGs. I see Junior Riggs as well. And of course, our lovely moderator, Mr. Pedro and Filson. Holy shit, there he is, Mr. Filson. Ha, love it, man. Fucking love it. Anyways, with that said, let's get on with it and check out the Krown application, which can be found at app.krown.net. There's a link in the description below. Oh, and by the way, I should let you know that there's actually going to be a lot, well, maybe not a lot, but there's going to be a couple of interviews coming out this week, of which I wanted to bring on people who are professional traders in different sort of venues as well, and kind of tell their stories so that people can get an overall understanding of like what that looks like, you know, in general, because you'll probably notice a lot of common themes and a lot of common threads between what people's journeys essentially look like. Obviously, the specifics of it are going to be different, but the sort of underlying like mentality, more importantly, and also just like the process, I suppose, is more or less very, 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 very similar. So I wanted to bring that out, especially with people that like actually fucking know and can verify myself, and I'm very excited about that. Anyways, on to the Krown application. What do we see over here? We see actually not all that hell of a lot of different things than what we saw yesterday. In fact, Bitcoin dominance did head down about 0.5%, however, so this is going to start to really make me reconsider that Bitcoin or just altcoins are going to go into a bit of a a bit of a rally phase here, perhaps, as we do see a little bit of altcoin season, perhaps, with this whole going down. Now, with that said, I really do think that it's being led obviously by the DeFi sector. I don't think I'm saying anything too crazy right there, but most importantly with that, I do think that it would be more important to kind of differentiate between the DeFi sector and obviously, you know, your traditional 2017 shitcoins, right? Because we technically do see a lot of different things going on right there, as most DeFi coins are just going absolutely fucking moon mode, and most 2017 and other, you know, various categories of shitcoins not necessarily doing the same thing, although joining a little bit within the rally, but not necessarily of the same severity. Anyways, on top of that, top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins. The usual suspects are here once again. Decentraland, however, this one's been on there for quite some time. 15.25%. Jesus Christ, man, these things really are going. And Harmony, another perennial top 10 best coin, I suppose. So looking good right there. Omisi Go, or is this Omisi Go? I actually don't know. OMG Network. I believe it would just be symbol OMG if that is Omisi Go. But if it is, that would be the first sort of signs of life on that one in like fucking 3 years. Craziness right there. And on the top 10 worst coins, Bitmax token. Don't know what the hell that is. Sounds like a budget Bitmax token. Not negative 33%. Jesus Christ, man. That deserves a few oh fucks indeed. PunDX down about 6%. That one, another 2017 shitcoin as well, getting beat up. And actually Storage, Anchor, and Icon, all 2017 shitcoins, and Reserve Rights as well, I believe. So all of that, with all of that set in Hedge Trade, what the fuck is Hedge Trade? Down 22%. I just imagine like some poor sap, you know, on Reddit going like, guys, my Hedge Trade token went down 22% overnight. Do you know of any news that could be causing this? It's like, yeah, well, actually, it appears that my shitcoin is an actual shitcoin. And there you go. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. Let's see what we got going on over here. We're seeing more or less the same things that we've been looking at from open interest and funny rate, which is going to play into the long-term narrative that Bitcoin probably does have another leg here. I do still like the open interest, most importantly, put in a bit of a higher low alongside Bitcoin. Kind of having a bit of a continuation into the middle of the range here, around that $55,000 region. And then on top of that, we do see that there's a humongous premium over futures versus perpetuals price action, which is going to play into a little bit of a short-term bearish bias here. But overall, I imagine that this is probably going to come back into parity relatively, or hopefully soon. If it does come back into parity, or especially get any sort of backwardation signals, then that is going to be a damn obvious signal that Bitcoin is going to be, well, putting in a major reversal. and having that continuation to, well, our next targets to the upside, of which there's actually plenty to discuss right now that is actually new as far as the high-term timeframes go. So, well, high-term timeframes being a daily in this case. Anyways, I actually do, I don't want to kind of cheapen that message because it actually is kind of a big deal right now. Anyways, funny rate per exchange, as always, FTX with the big middle finger above 0.12% right there. But most importantly, on the whole, the global funny rate is clearly trending down alongside Bitcoin, more or less just pretty much right around its prior all-time high. So to me, I look at this as long-term bullish. Of course, accompany that with implied vol and realized vol, which are pretty much flat right here. I mean, that is kind of like your classic bullish signal, especially if you're grinding around your all-time highs. Now, does that mean that Bitcoin's just going to be bullish today and start sprouting out green dildos like the fucking, I don't know, like the leprechaun? No, leprechauns don't do that. I don't know what the hell that is. Although I am a little bit Irish, I suppose. But more importantly, with that, it would play into the long-term healthiness narrative of this, and basically kind of the sort of the sort of long-term that I'm looking at right now is Bitcoin very likely does get another leg here. However, that next leg likely does lead into a bit of a greater pullback, in my opinion. But I won't get too deep into that just yet because we're obviously very far away from that. So first things first, let's actually go into the price action charts themselves. Let's check out what we got over here on CME specifically, and well, actually, do we want to start off with CME or do we want to start off with spot? Either which way, I am looking at more importantly, spot price action, which we did say yesterday. While it is still long term looking okay, short term probably does pull back off the 56,500-ish region. I mean, pretty damn simple stuff right here. Just going from resistance or support to resistance, and then from resistance to support. In this case, I do remain a little bit short term angled to the downside here. We do have several drives of hidden bearish divergence in the short term time frames. So to answer that person's question at the beginning, do I think that Bitcoin likely goes back down somewhere around $54,000? Yeah, I do actually. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see it come back down to even 52 or $53,000. But overall, I do like this $51,000 area as a base going into especially the next monthly open for April, that is. Anyways, going back on over here into our CME chart, which obviously just opened up last night, what do we see right here? Actually something very, 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 very important, in fact, as we do see yet again another higher low back above the 20 simple, which does have a positive slope, obviously, and this is going to be accompanied by several other things that I quite do like. We do see that MACD histogram technically does have hidden bullish divergence on the histogram specifically. We do see quite literally a very slight, but it is very much there, lower low on the histogram. We got negative 851 and 33 versus negative 845 spot 62 right here. So technically speaking, there is a bit of divergence going on right there. More importantly, we do see that the ADX DMI is having a bit of a bullish signal in its infancy, most importantly, with the DMI plus technically dominant right now. Now, technically, at the same time, we do technically want to see a closure, specifically above this region, of which, it technically hasn't done it just yet, but I'd say that this is a pretty damn good setup, at least for the information that we do have, alongside the ADX starting to go into a strengthening phase. If we see both of these above the threshold, I'd be looking at that as very, 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 very good. For Bitcoin to ultimately resolve this whole formation, this whole consolidation between about $60,000 and $45,000 to the downside, to the upside. Now, of course, that is also accompanied by what we looked at yesterday on our daily Stokes, which do have a nice regression coming in from the last few lows, actually all the way in September. And this doesn't need to be perfect; it just needs to be a bit of a regression. Actually, sorry, and I will extend that even further. Well, it doesn't necessarily work as well down here, but more importantly, you can see that there is a nice regression coming in around the edge of the bearish control zone. So daily Stokes will very likely hit that, maybe not on the next tick, but certainly the one after that. And with that in mind, I mean, that would be traditional region to see a little bit of counter trend action, as you typically do see a lot of bot and algos just kind of naturally closing what would have been their short over here, somewhere right around the edge of the bearish control zone. Now this is alongside a higher low on price action, so I look at this as a bullish reset first and foremost because of our overall structure and the macro trend here. So all of those things kind of combine with each other, I do look at as more or less good. And then on top of that, we do have what would be considered a bullish formation right here with an ascending triangle officially in there. The volume signature is so far so good, working out, actually getting incredibly close to the apex here, in fact. So technically speaking, when you are looking at this and you do have some sort of a volume formation, some sort of an apex to be measured against, typically speaking, or statistically speaking, I should say, when you get about 70 to 75% full, it becomes a lot more likely to break. And I'd say that we're just about there right now. Apex is technically the second week of April, but very unlikely that you actually even see it go all the way over there. If it does, it would actually be a little bit of a counter signal, or at least a signal saying that this is not what we should be looking at. This is not the proper analysis, essentially. But for right now, and I would say especially within the next week, yes, high probability of an actual break outside of this range. Now, of course, an ascending triangle does have a higher probability to break to the upside than the downside. And, you know, the macro trend is on the same side as well, in this case, to the upside. So I do favor the upside here, obviously. However, it is, again, a statistical probability, which means that Bitcoin, well, obviously can break to the downside as well. And in this case, it's pretty damn simple to kind of judge both a breakout or a breakdown. But basically, your last higher low right here, right around about 52,500 on CME, is going to be that basing point, essentially where this trend line, by the way, comes in once again, which I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin maybe make another small run down around there. And most importantly, to the upside, we have about 59,000 bucks on a daily total closure, or just a wick higher than what we see on the wick high of this range on the 14th of March, which is 61,255 region. And that actually would have a measure move significantly higher. In fact, that's going to be pointed up all the way just shy of 70,000 bucks, which by the way is in line with the 3.618 Fibonacci extension right here as well, which has been working incredibly well on this whole run through. So I am inclined to be looking at that as a major area of interest if and when Bitcoin does break to the upside. Again, this is juxtaposed against the short-term time frame analysis, which ultimately I'm looking for Bitcoin to come down in the short term and play out those hidden divergences. But at the end of the day, we do see, you know, obviously your classic gap fill play from Friday's closure, which is right around, you know, low 54,000 bucks, also in line with the 20 simple here as well. So I do like that area for a bit of a bouncy bounce. And then if Bitcoin does break it to the downside, I'd first and foremost be looking at another test alongside this trend line. However, which by the way actually is around the 2-spot extension right here. But on top of that, at the end of the day, I want to see that actually happen first before I even look for something like that. On first pass, I would be looking for a bounce here at the very least. And just based off of structure, I do more or less just favor the upside in general. So with that in mind, let's go over and should we actually check out spot price action on this same chart? Yeah, here's my problem with spot price action. Obviously, is that it's just less obvious. It's certainly less obvious right here. Could you make the same sort of formation on this? Yes, absolutely you could. However, the problem is that it's just a little bit more sloppy. However, you could use a bit of a lower continuation point. It'd be the high side of this range on the 19th of March rather than this guy over here on the 12th and 13th of March. So I do look at that as maybe a little bit of a early indication of Bitcoin actually making its way towards those deeper $6,000 targets or 70,000 bucks on that next leg to the upside. But again, if we are looking at spot price action, it actually is a little more short-term downside angled. So again, differentiating between the short-term timeframes, the medium timeframes, and the high and the macro timeframes. High and macro timeframes still more or less bullish. Not really anything's changed there, but just more and more actual supporting of the bullish case long-term, as we did see earlier with especially with the CME charts. However, short-term probably would be looking for another move to the downside. Certainly within range. And could we have problems here? Yeah, we certainly could have problems. But first and foremost, I'm not really even looking at this as likely to go back down below 50,000 bucks, for example, as long as Bitcoin maintains its higher low structure right here. Now, if Bitcoin does break this at 51,500 or on CME would be about 52,500, in fact, then I would be looking for another move back down somewhere around that $48,000 to $49,000 target that we spoke about last week. But for right now, I'm actually not really looking for something like that to happen with the current way that price action is structured. Oh, and hello, Sleeping Mermaid. How are you? Would you like to come and talk here? Sorry, Elsa just woke up and she looks confused. She looks like she saw a ghost, and she looks like she has no pants on actually as well. Anyways, let's go over and check out the short-term timeframes over here. Again, I think it's pretty damn I wouldn't say obvious, but I think it's a lot more likely to test the downside here. Again, following up on yesterday's short-term timeframe analysis, 56,500. Would have been that continuation point for a bit of a breakout and reversal on the 4-hour and medium-term timeframes in general. But most importantly with this, first pass, very likely to sell off. I feel like we kind of already saw a, nice move off that from 56.5 all the way down to about 50 or a little bit, or wow, actually 54,750, not bad right there. But I do think that is going to give another test of the downside and probably try to put in a base somewhere around the 200 simple and 200 exponential average on the 4-hour. Again, major, well, I wouldn't say major, but certainly 1, 2, 3 drives a couple times on 4-hour bearish divergence right there. Rejection of the bullish control zone. Short-term very likely is down as it gets rejected by the exponential on this as well. Could you look at this as a head and shoulders on the RSI? Yes, in fact, you could. And for myself, I actually put a lot more weight on formations in, of course, And of course, RSI, oink. Hey, what's up, Alexander? Actually, we were watching an anime yesterday. I've never really got into anime, but it's actually pretty fucking fun. It's called The Seven Deadly Sins, and there's this like talking pig character that always goes oink, but he also speaks English or Japanese, but translated into English. I don't know what the fuck that's all about, man, but it's actually pretty fucking funny. Anyways, I imagine this is probably gonna be accompanied by, on a short-term timeframes over here, Stokes also coming down as well, of which we do see. So yes, you know, at the end of the day, I do think that Bitcoin is setting up for a little bit of a short-term downside here. Again, that does not necessarily make me bearish on the whole. I don't think that bear Jesus sermons are necessarily relevant, at the very least until Bitcoin breaks below like this low structure right here. So I'll put on the drawing tools right now. It's basically the same shit that we've been looking at for like the last couple weeks here, going back to 20th of March or so. And so as long as we're kind of playing between there, again, the ranges are quite simply 56,500 to the upside. If Bitcoin does break above there, I'd essentially be looking at another run back up towards 60,000 bucks. Played a bit of a range there. However, that would really start to play into the narrative of a long-term ascending triangle at your highs, which is typically going to be continuation fights. On the at the same time, if you are going to be looking at the short-term timeframes, I would be using about 54,000 bucks as a bit of a short-term base, meaning that if Bitcoin does break it to the downside, I would be looking for another move, ultimately somewhere back down around the upper end of this blue box right here. Now, we could move this up quite a fair bit, in fact, just because the structure is actually looking okay right there, and it did actually put in a nice little low, and that is, more importantly, a bit of a fake out low right here. So I think that, you could comfortably put it somewhere between about 52.5 and 51,850-ish region, which would be a little more accurate. Hello, sir. How are you? Okay, no comments. No comments, huh? All right. Guess it's one of those days. Well, good morning. There you have it. Good morning from the fucking mermaid herself. Anyways, this is also going to be accompanied by, it looks like, a potential bearish cross on the TSI. Now, of course, as we identified in the TSI video from, I believe it was last week, this is not necessarily like a full-on bear signal. You really want to see it below the zero read, but short-term, does it come back down, base around the zero read before giving another try to the upside? That'd be another very obvious signal that Bitcoin is going to put in a short-term low before continuation of the upside. So it would, again, imply a little bit of short-term downside, but any sort of a base above this region right here would be more or less interpreted as, I suppose, healthy. Again, on very, 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 very low HVP. So that very does likely line up with a move probably early this week, maybe probably even today, to be honest with you. And then give another try, I'd imagine probably around the time that April does indeed start. Now let's go to the medium-term timeframes over here. Thanks for that, LC. Appreciate that, man. But but all good. Nimbo, there he is. Fuck yeah, baby. Yeah, no chewing on the fork. There it is. Yeah, Elsa's monitor is turned off. Man, you have some good eyes. Yeah, you can actually see her monitor over there, but you can never really see her. Yeah, she's actually just fucking around with the, I don't know, what are you doing over there? Oh, she's taking out the garbage. All right, being a good girlfriend, I guess. Anyways, she didn't like that comment, did she? Anyways, looking at let's go to the 12-hour and check out the medium-term timeframes for what it's worth right now. Again, a little bit of a local high in progress here is what it looks like to me. Hidden bearish divergence, also in progress as well. I'd even go as far as saying that I would front-run caretaker signal on this one, as it does look very, very likely to play out. Most importantly, because we do see that the TSI is looking for a bit of a down, or actually, no, it's coming under pressure here, but actually not really in. Yeah, not really in jeopardy of actually giving a cross below the signal line. Now, if it does below 53.5, that's going to be a damn obvious signal that Bitcoin does come back down all the way to the bottom end of that blue box territory at around 51.5 to 51.7 region. So ultimately, kind of wrapping up my thoughts on Bitcoin. Short term down, yes. Medium and higher term time frames very likely try to put in another base around there, and then I would be looking for a try probably in April to, well, I'll just leave it there. Let's check out the daily as well. Okay, so the daily is also kind of helping out a bit of a long-term bullish bias here too. Daily TSI, I would like to see go for a bit of a bullish reset all the way down to the zero read right here, which would be absolutely phenomenal. For right now, it's not really in any way, shape, or form. What's called searching for my words right now. Death sense or anything like that. It's just it's more or less short term right there. On top of that, on the other side, more importantly, we do have 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence coming off this low, which does essentially again play within the narrative that this is likely a reaccumulation formation. Fishing with Donnie says would have preferred an ETH pairing, but this isn't one. So cake BTC 1 and 4 hour, sir. If we could get through Bitcoin first, then I'd be happy to look at that. But I figure you already know, Mr. Donnie. You've been here for a while now, so all good, man, all good. And yes, I will make certainly sure to look at that soon enough. Actually, we're almost done with Bitcoin anyways. Buy daily, what are we looking at right here? Again, looks more or less fine to me. We have seen the jewel essentially come back down for a bit of a reset. This is typically a bouncy bounce area. So if you were playing the signal of here on the 20th of March or 19th of March, then that move, yeah, I'd say mostly has happened. I mean, that was a closing price of about 57,500, bottom price of about 51,000 bucks, or a little bit below there. Yeah, it's about a $6,000 move. And again, when you're looking at counter trend signals with any indicator, the jewel included especially, you know, I don't really like shoot for the fucking stars in that case. 3-day, do we still have any sort of issues right here? I mean, same sort of thing, kind of coming down to that fib, although the 3-day is still kind of in a sell posture, so that is worth mentioning. But is this going to be the one time in fucking history where my bias is right and the jewel is wrong? Maybe, maybe, I don't know, man. I have to hold my breath. But if I had to put my money on it, if I had to make a guess, this is probably one of the better setups, just because every other time frame is essentially suggesting something mostly different. On top of that, do we have a potential hidden bullish divergence in place over here? Yeah, we do actually, between this low, and this low. Now, this I would already say is pretty much confirmed as a local low right here, especially getting that open above the 10 simple is going to look more or less good on the whole. So I'd actually feel comfortable kind of front running that signal. But again, this is a 3-day dildo time frame. So a 3-day dildo time frame obviously takes 3 days to play out, and we literally just got a new one last night. So with all that said, you know, it's probably going to line up somewhere around the beginning of April. So with that in mind, let's go over here and let's go check out the monthly and quarterly, which Bitcoin is obviously going to be closing at the end of this month. And I would say that any sort of signature like this is going to make me bullish for very likely new all-time highs in either April or May. Especially closing about 55,000 bucks is going to look really good. And on top of that, we do see momentum oscillators are following through as well. Monthly Stokes will maintain their upside posturing, and monthly DMI ADX will obviously have we'll obviously see you know, a bullish bias here as well. On top of that, monthly MACD is looking absolutely insane, but it is still increasing on the histogram, so trend is still strengthening here. And I think that this is further verified, more importantly, by the quarterly, of which this is, you know, full on continuation. I think the quarterly DMI ADX is very strong right here, and the quarterly what's it called, Stokes are essentially just going to be getting into test the bullish control zone for the first time since quite literally April 2017. Now this would be the edge of the bullish control zone right here, and you can see that was essentially precipitating the run from about January 2017 all the way to the high in October, or basically January 2018, you know, that last 6 months. So this is a quarterly again, so you know, obviously it's going to take some time to play out, and I would keep an eye on it, although we don't necessarily have too much history to kind of put a lot of faith in it, but ultimately it would help out the long-term Bula-ish bias. So again, you know, you know, it's a bit of a differential here between the short-term timeframes and the high-term timeframes, but ultimately I do think that the setup is still more or less there for the higher-term timeframes. Short-term timeframes, however, look pretty damn downside angled, to be honest with you. So with that in mind, big, you know, I can already imagine like a big gasping or holding a breath if Bitcoin does come back down anywhere around like 52 or 53. But ultimately, I'd give it a chance first and run with the former assumption until proven otherwise, as that typically is. Well, that typically is, or that is just one of my rules. More importantly, because it does kind of keep you safe in these long-term up and down markets, of course. And that is why I'll never call the ultimate high, I'll never call the ultimate low. But the key is getting that next lower high or that next higher low. Anyways, okay, let's get back onto this. Fishing with Donnie, let's get on over to him. He wants to look at Cake BTC. I'm actually glad to be looking at Bitcoin pairings today, mostly because I really want to see the general market, if we are going to be looking at altcoins and how they are strength, or you know, their strength relative to Bitcoin. Okay, so Cake actually looking decent here on the daily, but there's really not too much history. 4 hours in obvious bullish consolidation here. Hidden bullish divergence coming off the lows, and you're already kind of around your prior highs already. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one put in a bit of a range between about 3,200 and our current low structured about 2,900, but ultimately this one is very likely shaping up for continuation. We barely even have enough history here to populate a fucking 4 hour 200 simple and 200 exponential moving average. So to be, you know, quite blunt with you, I really dislike analyzing things that are this young, and this is a fucking 4 hour, which is a time frame that is kind of bullshit in my opinion to begin with anyways. It's not bullshit for Bitcoin, but ultimately, you know, we just don't really have that much time frame here. Okay, can you stop with the fucking dishes, for the love of God? No. All right, you're fired. How about that? Anyways, yes, I would essentially be looking for continuation here, man. It's obviously turning the corner. I mean, it's already turned the corner, and any sort of a base above 2,800 is going to be met with, well, long-term continuation, at least for now. Anyways, okay, new 510 says, Krown bro, new bro, I'm about to go big on 100x leverage. I would suggest not doing that. We get some TA on Bitcoin, USDT, Binance, 10-second, 1 minute. Oh, you bastard. If you're reading this, it's probably too late. I'm shish kebabbed. Well, let's see. I'm actually curious. All right, you want to check out the tick chart right here? I actually do have access to that. Or can we... Here you go, man. Enjoy your fucking shish kebab in the Angus right now. Oh, man, I pray for you, sir. I pray for you very, 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 very much. 1 minute right here looks like... Looks like a headache. Yeah, we got a little bit of a minute downtrend, but it is kind of crazy, to be honest with you, just because, these minute ranges are really actually quite large. I mean, there actually is money to be made on these. Probably a little bit of a short-term bounce to be fair, so let's see if you get out of this one. Bullish divergence on the minute chart. Back on the moon, baby. Fuck yeah. This thing's going to 100 billion kajillion because everyone's been upping their targets, right? It's fucking great, man. It's fucking great. La Major has taken away his message. Why would you do that, man? La Major says, does the reverse pi cycle number 4, the cross, mean the expected peak price for Bitcoin? No, it does not. It would imply the price action that would need in order to cross it immediately, but that's not going to give you any sort of, it's not a leading indicator if that's what you're asking. No. Not at all. In fact, quite the contrary. If anything, Hefe F says, can you do some TA on Zillow? Oh, nice. We got some real stocks here. We got some real motherfucking stocks. Nice. On NASDAQ. Let's get off the bullshit timeframes. How about that? And what are we looking at right now? Probably does try to put in a little bit of a low here and at least rally off to start the week. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing rally back up to 140, but you do have a bit of a downtrend going on right now. And at the same time, you do have some bullish divergence. So yeah, I'd probably be looking at a bounce to open up this week, maybe up to 140-ish region, and then discuss from there. You did not give a time frame on that, so I don't really know exactly where you want to go with that, but ultimately short-term time frame bounce and then come back to it after that. Let's actually check out traditional markets really quick here. Looks like NASDAQ's getting beaten up in the early morning hours, kind of playing into the short-term bearish buys, and actually NASDAQ kind of looking sloppy toppy here, to be honest with you. However, the other two components of the big three looking pretty fucking good. Still, I'd be looking for bounces on SPY somewhere around 39.20. I'd be looking for bounces on Dow Jones somewhere around 36,660-ish region. Again, I'm not necessarily bearish on some that looks like this or the way that it closed on Friday, especially. In fact, anywhere down to the 10 simple on the daily, and probably at the very least a short-term bounce. Again, based off this hidden bullish evidence right here, I kind of do like it still a long-term. I know it looks fucking crazy, but at the end of the day, man, if there's one thing that I've learned in my history of trading, it's to not call the top before the top is in, and to not call the bottom before the bottom is in. And then someone's going to say, but Krown, shouldn't you know? It's no, actually, that's not what TA is. TA cannot tell the fucking future, obviously. If it could, we'd all be goddamn rich, and we're not. It's a game of statistics and probabilities, my friends. M. Aurora says, good day, Krown and Elsa. Hey, fuck that. Fuck that noise. KSM perp FTX short term, please. Thanks. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. KSM perp. Okay. On FTX. Kusama looks really fucking good. This is a weekly. Let's go to a daily. Daily looks like continuation as well. I believe very bullish on this one last week, and I guess I'd suppose I'd retain bullishness here. 4 hours obvious continuation as well. 4 hour RSI kind of telling the story on this one. Yeah, I'd be looking for further upside on this one. Let's see if we can come up with any sort of relevant targets to the upside. It's just going to be areas of interest, not necessarily targets themselves, but yeah, 550 for short term. However, more long term, I'd be looking at about 650, anywhere around 650 is kind of like danger zone in my opinion. So fair enough. Actually looking pretty good. All right, let's see. What else do we got here, baby? What else do we got today? It's a nice Monday. It's a big Monday. It's a green Monday, or actually a little bit of red Monday, more importantly. Philson says, is 12-hour Stoke still the cheat codes? I don't think so, no. You do see that these sorts of trends, they have like a limited lifespan. So for example, Philson, I believe you were here in 2018, right? So in 2018, the cheat code for Stokes was actually the 3-hour time frame. Then in, I believe it was 2019, the 12-hour was kind of the cheat code. And then in later 2020, actually the 10-hour became that sort of cheat code. Right now, though, I haven't really been keeping up too much with them, so I actually don't know. I actually don't know what the cheat code is, or maybe there's just not a cheat code on them right now. Because like I said, I've kind of thrown them away in favor of the TSI for now. Anyways, Abbott Dynamic Design and Manufacturing LLC says, "Hey, Krown, hope all is well. Thanks, man. I got a good night's sleep last night. So all is well, actually. Thoughts on SSYS Daily? Okay, so this sounds like a real stock. SSYS Daily Stratasys on NASDAQ. You said daily specifically? Okay, nice. We actually do have a time frame denoted here too. All right, nice little higher low. I'd be looking for this one to, at the very least, try a bounce to open up this week, probably somewhere around like 27.5. However, here's the obvious thing on this one. Any sort of a move back above, let's call it like $30, a little bit higher than that to be fair, but any sort of a move back above $30 is really going to make this look like your next major low. And I'd be looking for extension all the way up to, 35, 35 and then probably 40 to be honest with you. I mean, this does look good for the information that we do have right now. Or actually, no, it does not. On the weekly, it looks absolutely shitty. Looks shitty as fuck, actually. Looks pretty bad. But a bit of a change of behavior over here. So perhaps this one actually is kind of fighting itself off after a long-term down all the way from September 2014. So yeah, about 6 to 7 years of straight down. Now showing a bit of life right now, but I'd give it a chance to bounce first. Above $30, I might be looking at this as like a long-term macro reversal, but not until that point. Not until that point. And that only kind of keep the hopes alive. It's not necessarily a full-on signature. The full-on signature would be, well, not very helpful to be honest with you, because it'd be the current high of this rally thus far. Anyways, Yan Yao Ye says, "Can you tell your hairy lady to stop with the kitchen noise, please, sir? I know." Oh, let's hear it. She's gonna come over. She's got some words for you. No, she says no. Can your hairy kitchen lady? Elsa is the least hairy person I know, actually, and I'm the most hairy person that I know. So, so you're fucked. It's terrible combination, man. Our kids would be really fucked up if we ever did have some, but we're not going to have some. Anyways, La Major says, "Morning, Krown. Morning, sir. Is ZIL fib extension levels on weekly and wait, what is ZIL fib extensions?" Levels on weekly, and is the ADX healthy on the daily and weekly? All right, let's check this out. Symbol ZIL, so this is going to be Zilliqa bullshit. Zilliqa, I do want to say, like, I always kind of have a little bit of a bone to pick with them. Okay, you did not give a, god damn it, man. Hey, give a goddamn, god damn it, give a fucking base pairing, man. Gonna be completely different. I'm gonna look at Zilliqa versus BTC, but this project used to like do all the fucking scam comments on my YouTube channel like 2 to 3 years ago. In the same way that you see like I think it's like FX13 algorithm or something. It's like it's always in fucking broken English. It looks like some Russian used Google Translate, and it's like, have you heard about the Zilliqa asset? It is good. It is quite good. Invest many X's for riches and big boobies. I'm not even fucking joking, man. Messages would be like that, like incessantly. Anyways, does this look good right here? I don't need to use fucking fibs or ADX for this. Yeah, this is fucking good right here. If we are looking at the ADX specifically, very fucking good actually. Just having an infancy of a bullish signal right there on a higher low structure, basically on a reaccumulation formation, whether you want to call this some sort of a ascending triangle or some sort of a fucked up cup and handle, the interpretation is the same. Higher lows, sir. Higher lows indeed, looking good right there. So would I be bullish on this one long term? Yep, breakout above 335 Satoshis, and I'd be looking for a move probably towards like 400 plus at that point. Probably 450 if I had to guess, or maybe just go for the round psychological even number at 500. It looks fucking good, man, to put it bluntly. Anyways, Hambone Crypto says, "Morning, Krown." Good morning, Hambone. We'll be getting the TA class this week. Sweet, man. Well, I guess I'll see you in there. Anything I should learn beforehand? What I would suggest doing beforehand is to take advantage of all like the free content on this channel. So I have a playlist called Technical Analysis 101. That's a good place to start. It's really fucking basic, and but it'll kind of like run you through it'll get you familiar with the basics, obviously. What I would say though is if you're gonna just go straight for the TA program, make sure that you have like make sure that you're familiar with your way around the fucking exchanges, for example. Like, we're not gonna go over that bullshit. It's expected that you already know like how to fucking press the green button or how to press the red button, which yes, sometimes I do get messages about, and it's like, hey man, I'm just gonna give you a refund, and how about you and you can just like spend the next fucking few months doing a little bit of Googling so that you can get comfortable with that, because it's just not gonna be applicable to you. I've seen you here many times before, so I imagine that you're probably very familiar with all this sort of stuff, but I do feel obligated to say that because I don't really want people jumping into it who aren't gonna benefit fully from it, obviously. Obviously I can't control that at the same time too, but it's I do feel responsible for that. Anyways, can you look at Acro BTC 4-hour daily on KuCoin? Sure, man. All right, let's see. We got AKRO BTC, nice little BTC pairing, and we have time frames here too. This is good. You said KuCoin specifically. This one sounds like some sort of a Greek coin. Acropolis. Yeah, that's it. 4-hour looks good. A little bit of a reaccumulation and a higher low structure. I do like that. Let's go to a daily. Daily is more or less pump and dump long term, but is this one getting ready for a pump phase? Very likely, yes. Nice daily base, somewhere right around about 12,400-ish region, Satoshis that is. Daily golden cross right here does give me a bullish bias. And if I had to call it right now, do I think that this one's going to turn the corner and join the rest of the altcoin market, which, most of them are kind of putting in these massive rallies, a lot of them actually just making new all-time highs? Very likely, yes. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing, rally up to like 21 to 22,000 Satoshis over the next few months. Problem is, though, is that this one's obviously relatively weak. This is a fucking pump and dump. This is a garbage chart, to be 100% clear with you. So the point is it's very similar to 2017, right? Where it's like, look, most altcoins, they will rally and they will have pretty damn good performances. But the thing is that when you're entering into a market like this, or when you're entertaining, bullshit like this, which I don't even know the fucking project, so maybe it's the second coming. I don't know. If you've done your research into it, well, I'm sure that you believe in it or something like that. My point is, though, is that when when you're looking at something like this, the idea is when to actually get out, because this thing will very likely pump and dump again. All rallies have failed in the past, and there's absolutely zero reason to think that this rally will not fail at some point as well. In the meantime, however, I would favor the upside, certainly, and I would be, well, I shouldn't say certainly, but very likely, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing actually like have a pretty massive rally here. Anyways, fair enough. All right, cool. 596 Bossy says, "Hola, Krown. Hola, mi amigo, sir." What is it, senor? Yeah, senor. There it is. Can you take a peek at FET BTC over the long term? All right, FET BTC. Do you know about FET Life, by the way? I'm sure someone out there will fucking know this one. Oh, no. We have Shitty Chart of the Day award going to Fetch.ai. Fucking garbage, man. Absolute fucking garbage. Look, again, this one even more so than the last piece of shit that we just looked at. Garbage chart, absolute garbage chart. Does this one get to join the rest of the market rallying because we're just in kind of like the twilight zone right now? Yes, very likely, yes. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing rally up over the next few months to like 2,300 Satoshis, maybe even more than that. But again, same knowledge as the past prior one. This is a fucking pump and dump. All rallies fail. There are people obviously trapped well above where it's currently situated. And this is what the real chart looks, well, I guess the real chart doesn't look too much different. This is linear, this is log, by the way. So overall, short term, medium term, very likely does continue onwards and forwards from here. Obvious base right around 1260-ish region, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing rally up all the way, past to, probably like 2,500 Satoshis, to be honest with you. Problem is, though, is that the real key is when to get out of bullshit like this. And this one, this one, I don't really have a strong opinion on that just yet. I mean, this one just fucking dumps out of nowhere, it looks like, too. Very, very awful chart long term, but short term very likely does continue the rally here, or even over the next couple months here. Again, the general market, just by being involved and having like your name in the cryptocurrency sphere, probably gonna rally. Anyways, moving on, we got New 510, Krown Bro, Mr. New Bro, how you doing, man? That was great. Thanks for the laugh. I'm glad you had a little bit of a chuckle there, sir. A little bit of a tee-hee, huh? Now I'm just showing BNB USD Binance 4-hour daily. Looks like it's ready for markup, depending on Bitcoin. Okay, we can check it out. BNB actually has done its kind of own thing for quite some time, to be fair. So I do think that it deserves a little bit of respect, I suppose, even though I'm not, the biggest fan of Binance in general. But fair enough, looking at this right here, very obvious ascending triangle at basically the highs. I mean, this is, usually going to be a continuation signal. I'd agree with you, more or less. You have a very obvious formation going on right here. I'd be bullishly biased on this one, essentially as long as it's above its last prior low at 235. No real reason to be bearish on this one. Now, if it does lose 235, then we can start to talk about moves all the way back down to like 150 and beyond. But for right now, it looks something like this. Break above the range would be 295. Let's just call it 300, and would have a target somewhere around $400 and maybe beyond there. So yeah, it looks pretty damn good there, to be fair. looks very good. I mean, exchange tokens are all the rage right now, right? And it kind of makes sense because they're one of the few ones that actually have real utility. And what is their utility? To trade other bullshit cryptocurrencies for the most part. But yeah, man, it does look good. And I'm just going to be generally bullish on most things in this market for the long term. Until Bitcoin really puts in a top, I mean, everything kind of just gets to rally, I suppose. All right, cool. Let's see. What else we got, baby? What else do we got? Holy shit, man. Where the fuck? What the hell? What the fuck is going on over here? All right, let's see. G-Dubs says, can you please check out AMD? Long-time viewer. Yeah, man. AMD, like a real stock. Okay, sweet. Let's check out Advanced Micro Devices. I actually have an AMD running this current computer that I'm using to stream. Don't like it. Don't like it at all, actually. Anyways, short term, I'd be looking for a bounce off this region. We do see regular bullish evidence coming off the lows, so I would be looking for at the, whether you're bullish or bearish, I'd be looking for another try back up somewhere around like 79.5, maybe $80. However, this one doesn't necessarily have the most inspiring, well, I was going to say that it doesn't necessarily have the most inspiring medium term there, but, when I pull it back out and over here, it's kind of hard to be, while I would be looking for that short-term move to the upside, here's the obvious thing that would make me bullish on this one. Like more immediately, basically looking for a move back up to like 90 to $100, and that would be taking out this last sort of local high right around about 83 and a quarter. I do think short term, extremely likely you do see somewhere around, maybe just below $80. If you do get any sort of continuation through 83 and a half, that's gonna be the next sort of continuation signal here. Sloppy charts to be fair, but this one, kind of playing into like the global. The global current, what's the word that I'm looking for? Situation. Yes, that's it. I was actually just speaking with one of my good friends, and he was kind of showing me data that all of these, all of these computer components, especially the semiconductor sector, is like massively demanded right now, like incredibly massively demanded, and there is a massive supply shock. So it's like the fucking, it's like the twilight zone of everything that you want in order to get these things marked up again. So traditionally speaking, I'd actually be looking at this on a weekly as a bit of a top, but I would not say that that's appropriate based off the lower term timeframes and the current situation going on. Now, obvious bearish continuation to the downside below about 74 and a half. Would be looking at another move sub 60, but I don't think that that's what's happening here. Or at the very least, I'd give it a chance to bounce first and then come back to it after that. Play at that bullish evidence first, essentially. Fishing with Donnie says, Krown is so hairy that even a mosquito can't suck his blood. Actually, not true. Actually, not true, man. Mosquitoes love me. Mosquitoes love to suck on my little bloodies. Anyways, oh, those mosquitoes gonna suck me good. Donnie says, motherfucker. Donnie says, Sol BTC 1 to 4 hour. All right, we'll check it out. Sol BTC. This is Solana, I believe. This one's a popular one too. I see this one come up a lot. A decent chart for the history that we do have, but you're looking at a 1 and 4 hour specifically. 4 hour, a little bit of downside here, I'd imagine. Maybe back down to like 30,000 satoshis. Hourly, I do think that this one pulls through ultimately. I'm just looking at higher lows on this one, so maybe a little bit of short-term downside on this one. However, I'd be looking for more or less continuation on the whole. I mean, there's not anything that's shouting at me that's like super bearish about this chart right here. Short-term down very likely gets picked up anywhere around low 30,000 satoshis. I think is a good base for the daily as well, which I know you didn't ask for, but long-term, I'd be looking for this one to give another try to the upside. Golden cross on the daily gives me a bit of a bullish bias above all major moving averages on higher low structure. I'm not gonna ever be fucking bearish on that, obviously. Anyways, oh man, I fucking love Pedro over there. That's awesome, man. Thank you for that, brother. Thank you for that, very much indeed. Kendrick Camps, the Dominicans are here. Yes, fuck yeah, baby. We got them. The power of the Dominicans has been harnessed by the cave sirs. Thoughts on Bitcoin monthly close? Well, we haven't got the monthly close just yet, but we did speak about it earlier, which I'm guessing you probably just weren't here for. Monthly looks good to me, man. Quarterly looks very good to me as well. Any sort of a monthly closure above $55,000 is going to be pretty damn obvious continuation signal. The one thing that I'm kind of keeping an eye on is the top side Toronto band right now in its relationship to the bottom side of our current monthly dildo, which is $45,000 versus the Challenger band just below $43,000. Now, when we saw earlier in this month when Bitcoin was about $58,000 to especially $60,000, they were essentially one-to-one touching. So I do look at that as a little bit more or less likely to happen. That is just going to be another sort of point in in favor of a long-term continuation here. Okay, I shouldn't necessarily say long-term, but at least continuation into April, May probably. Monthly Stokes also staying nice and erect here too, albeit quite aggressive, and monthly histogram increasing the momentum. So I know everything looks crazy, man, and believe me, this is fucking crazy. Like all everything else aside, but if I had to call it right now, if you put a gun to my head, yeah, I'd be looking for continuation probably into April, 2 new all-time highs. And you're also looking at Ren USD CB daily. Okay, so Ren's on Coinbase, really? Okay, I wouldn't have expected that, but fair enough. I don't know shit about it. We can go to Ren right here. Let's go to, and you said the daily specifically. It's going to follow whatever Bitcoin does. Short term, very likely back down to maybe 97.5 cent. I'd be looking at a bit of a bounce at 97.5 cent. Anywhere above yesterday's high, and I'd be looking for a big continuation drive all the way up to like 115 region. Anywhere between then and there and about 110-ish region. Now, if it does, well, I was gonna give a bit of a bearish look on the short term timeframes. I'm not so gung ho about the short term timeframes right here. We do have actually no hidden bearish evidence there, to be fair. So you know what, if Bitcoin does play out a little bit of a short-term downside move, I'd be looking for this one to base once again around like 90 cents. But I do like the daily for what it's worth right now. To me, it's either continuation from here or tries another bounce somewhere around like 90 cents region. Overall, looks fine. I mean, this is just a nice little orderly uptrend there. Anyways, we got Adam Holcomb here, says, hi Krown, Sand USD please. All right, let's look at this. Let's look at the old Sand, huh? Sand USD. And what do we got right now? We got, I guess Binance is going to be the one to go to. And obvious continuation here. Very, very good chart for the history that we do have. Only knows how to rally to the upside. So I'd be looking for further continuation here. TSI getting a fresh cross the upside as well. Daily RSI is just playing around the bullish control zone. And this is all good stuff for continuation. Short term, if it wants to pull back down to 71.5 cents, that would be an obvious bounce region. But ultimately, I'd be looking for further upside. Can probably do a bit of an extension here too to come up with some further upside targets, of which, let's see, areas of interest would be just under $1 for the next one. Basically $1. Anywhere around $1 looks good to me for that next upside area of interest there. Anyways, we got LC, who's retracted his message. Why would you do that, sir? Why would you do that? Why? Why? How dare you? Paul Van Netten says, hey, Krown, could you check out EGLD Bitcoin and versus USD daily? I'd prefer to just do one at a time, sir, if that's cool with you. And I'd prefer to also just look at Bitcoin pairings if given the choice right now, mostly because the whole market's pretty much bullish. And so you really want to be knowing, are you going to be making more money from just holding Bitcoin or XYZ shitcoin? And in this case, look, it's very obviously getting reaccumulated right here. Key is in the hidden bullish divergence, 1, 2, 3 drives, or sorry, 2 drives, but twice right there coming off these last prior lows. And then TSI is going to be potentially having a bullish cross relatively soon. Is it raining outside? Oh, motherfucker. Oh, god damn it. It's raining outside again. Overall, though, man, I do favor the upside right here. Probably medium term, I'd be looking for a move towards 3,100 Satoshi. Above 3,100 Satoshi, I'd be looking for just straight up another continuation phase. Very likely to the prior all-time high and new all-time highs on top of that, man. It looks good. And so if the Bitcoin pairing is going to be good, the US dollar pairing is going to be very likely good as well. You do have a short-term base somewhere down around about 2350 as well, so I would be looking at that as a bit of an opportunity if it does want to play a short-term downside move alongside Bitcoin, but I don't feel too compelled about that. I feel compelled about the daily here, and it does look more or less like continuation, to be fair. All right, cool. New 510 says, Krown, bro. Okay, great. That's good to hear. Nice. Now, can we compare KCS USDT to BNB USDT same time frames? Well, or we could just, well, we can look at it. Is this KuCoin's shitcoin? Oh my God, KuCoin's got a shitcoin too. All right, so you want to look at I guess daily weekly on this one. It looks it's certainly relatively weak in comparison to BNB, which I believe is what you're asking about. It's like, how does it look relative to each other? Now, does that mean that this one is not going to, join the rally? I mean, it very likely joins the rally. Look, it's got hidden bullish divergence coming off of essentially a higher low structure right here. It's very likely to move back up towards, $6 and probably beyond. TSI looking like it wants to curl back around. It will officially actually have another bullish signal here with any sort of a cross above 518, or sorry, any sort of a closure above about 518, 519. 19 today, and yes, I'd be looking for another move back onto 6.5, and probably just continuation on top of that. However, again, juxtapose that against BNB, which is in a blue sky breakout, essentially price discovery. BNB has more potential, in my opinion, if you're comparing these two against each other specifically, that is. So yeah. All right, cool. What else do we got here, man? Holy shit, this is a busy day, man. Holy motherfucking moly. Z-Nil says Bitcoin. Oh, okay. So you want to look at CME right here? Yep, I got that. 2-hour volume analysis. Significance of lower volume since CME opened for the week. Sir, if you're going to be analyzing the volume on a fucking bi-hourly, then I pray for you. No, it's not that you can't analyze volume on a bi-hourly, but the problem is that you're looking at the weekly open here. You're basically focusing on a weekly and then you're going down to a bi-hourly to kind of judge it. I mean, this is a consolidation right here. You're missing the greater picture is what I'm essentially trying to say, and this is why you really don't want to be looking at fucking volume on a bi-hourly when realistically the whole formation is not going to be seen on a 2-hour, or I mean it can be seen on a 2-hour. It's just it's not like it's just not, you don't fucking look at a bi-hourly when you really want to be looking at, like, you know, the last month and a half of price action. A daily is going to be better, is my point. And when you look at a daily, it's very quickly obvious that we're in some sort of a consolidation going back from the 22nd of February highs, which was right around here, connected with these highs in about 59,000 bucks as well. And so I'd be looking at this as essentially a maturing formation going on right here. So is it problematic? No. I'd kind of shift around the sentiment on kind of what you're saying right there. Now, short term, do I think it comes down? Yes, I do. I mean, as we spoke about at the beginning of this video, for several reasons, but I don't confuse. I mean, it's not because of the volume. It's like the volume's low. I fucking hate that. Jesus Christ, man. Sorry. And this is not in any way, shape, or form like supposed to be, you know, mean to you, for lack of a better term. But it's just volume. Volume obviously matters a lot. It really does. But the problem is that a lot of people misinterpret volume, or just they make a meme out of volume, as does everything, right? You know, everything that actually does work gets made a meme out of, because, you know, you have a lot of people who are focusing on some and they don't really go through the rigmarole to actually like understand what the fuck it means. So at the end of the day, you know, volume is always, and here's the key notion with volume. Volume is always relative to the greater, you know, the greater look of things. Like, it needs to be contained. It needs to have some sort of a context. You can't just say volume's low, we're going down. No, fuck no. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And you will certainly lose your account over time if that's how you think, both the upside and the downside, obviously. It needs to be considered within the context of a current price action structure, and that's why I'm saying, hey, no, you don't look at that on a 2-hour. If you're looking at this whole thing right here, you're looking at it on a daily, and it's very obviously a maturing formation, base at about 52.5 and resistance right around 58.5, essentially, if you're looking at CME specifically. Okay, moving on. What do we got? Kendrick Camp says, Elsa, bang those pots and pans for all Dominicans. God damn it, do not incentivize her, sir. Nimbo's got some rain emojis. Love it, man. Fucking love it. Yan Yao Yao says, can you tell Elsa to stop the rain outside, please, sir? That's right. Elsa, do your little rain dance. I want to see that Finnish forest bullshit and stop the heavens from raining down on me as I go and walk to the gym after this, because... You just answered you're going to use your pussy powers? Sir, this is a family-friendly channel, and you're talking about poussoirs here. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. No more paper says, can you compare KSM versus Ethereum? Okay, well, you can look at KSM like literally as a dominant pair versus Ethereum like this, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, of course you can. I would say that it's like not really all that relevant, but well, I guess, you know, if your question is, should I be holding KSM or should I be holding Ethereum? KSM, obviously a lot more bullish here. Obviously the dominant, being the dominant pair, this one is very likely to melt up even more. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing even test like the ICO dump at like, what is this, 39 butyrol, or sorry, spot 39 butyrols, or whatever the fuck whatever the operative term is for that. Very obviously looking good right there, and probably going to make new ultimates on top of that. Probably going to go into price discovery, to be honest with you. Okay, Fishing with Donnie says, Sol Ethereum 1 hour Ethereum competitor found a pairing for it. Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense if you want to know which one should be holding. Same thing here, obvious continuation here. I mean, this is obviously in a blue sky breakout. Just got a new close on all-time highs on the weekly. I'm never going to be bearish on something like that. Short term, does it have a short-term downside move to like 0.01? Yeah, probably, but ultimately continuation is the name of the game here. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing to have another continuation phase with areas of interest all the way up to what is this, not 0.014 region, somewhere right around there would kind of look good to me. So yeah, if basically the question is, should I be holding Solano or Ethereum's, I'd probably dump Mr. Vitalik right there. Although that is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. That is a decision for you to make as a grown adult with a very mature mindset. Ha, there we go. Family friendly, says Sean Tracy. That's exactly right, sir. That's exactly right. See Charlie Fucks. What's up, brother? Yo, my kids are watching with me. That's right, baby. Start them young. Oh man, let's teach them about the red and green dildos right now. It's Christmas time, kiddies. Hey, kiddies, get ready for Christmas dildos. It's gonna be fucking raining here. Actually, literally raining outside right now, and I hope that your kids can learn something very much not appropriate today. How about that? Tesla, I see. Yeah, we can look at some Tesla action. I would actually love to look at Tesla being a little bit of a, well, I wouldn't say a meme stock, but a very interesting one, and one that typically does move quite a fair bit. We're seeing a lot of things, a lot of very similar things in the stock market right now. This one's having a fresh TSI cross to the downside in the bearish zone. More importantly, we do see that daily RSI is giving 1-2 drives of bearish divergence right there. So it'd be having a little bit of a short-term downwards bias. If this one comes back down to like 560 to 550-ish region, I think that's your obvious bounce region. I'd be bullish. Medium term back above about 715, we'll call it. For right now, I would actually be a little more downside angle, to be honest with you. This one does look, if I did call a top on anything that I've seen thus far in traditional markets, this one would actually be it. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing actually come all the way back down a little below $500. This actually very well could be the top right here, to be honest with you. At least for quite some time. I'm curious what a monthly looks like as well. Monthly is not as toppy, to be fair. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I revised that thought. Maybe I do revise that thought. I would be looking for downside, but maybe not a full on top there. Hey, what's up, the Adventures of Galactic Traveler? How you doing, man? What sort of solar system are you in right now? I've actually just started playing Stellaris, and it's really fucking good. It's really awesome. I strongly recommend it. Anyways, okay, whoa. H-Town Nick. Very opinionated fellow there. Let's see, been watching since Chicago days of water chugging and meat sweats. Man, I had some nasty meat sweats last night. Elsa's gonna have to change those sheets. They are fucking nasty right now. I was waking up in puddles of sweat, man. Can you check out 1USD 4-hour daily? Sure, man. 1USD. Okay, so this is Harmony, I believe, and that one. Let me go double check on the Krown app over here. Yeah, this one's been on the top 10 best coins list several times now. So I'm expecting something very good here, and this is something very good, actually. New all-time highs very likely coming this week. This is obvious continuation. I mean, it's in price discovery, man. Hidden bullish divergence literally on that last low. This one's extremely likely to make new all-time highs. Do I have any sort of areas of interest here? There's not going to be a good way to actually pull these fibs. Yeah, that one's not going to really work, or not going to be relevant for what we're looking at right here. Maybe we can use one for this range, come up with some more short-term ones. Whoopsies, let's do this. Yeah, I'd be having areas of interest somewhere around like 25 cents, 25 to 26 cents region. Not necessarily to call a top there, but probably a little bit of a pullback. One of the better charts that we've seen. In fact, one of the best charts that we've seen today, in fact. So yeah, I give this one 5 green dildos out of 5. At least a little more continuation there. We literally just did Tesla, Mr. Mojo Killer. We literally just did it, sir. Miles says, hello, Krown. Hello, Mr. Miles. DeFi perp 4-hour. Actually, this would be a really good one to look at, just because I wonder if it fits into the narrative or supports my narrative that DeFi is really leading this whole puppy right now. And no, what the fuck is this? This is not a chart worth looking at. I'm inclined to say that this is bullshit right here. What the fuck? What is this? DeFi. Hold on. DeFi something rather. Wait, what the hell? Yeah, DeFi perp. Okay, so you are right. Maybe this one's it. Okay, yeah, this one's it. Okay, there we go. Okay, that looks like an actual chart. Okay, sweet one. Looks very similar to a lot of the charts that we've seen today. Is this one like perfectly formed right here? No, but because we do have the advantage of kind of looking across the market, especially with all the requests that everyone's had, I'm a lot more inclined to kind of be going off of our momentum. Also, it is right here. Hidden bullish evidence, 1, 2, 3 drives coming off the lows. Several strikes right there too. On top of that, TSI could very easily have a bullish cross here with any sort of a closure above 11,450, basically. which it's kind of oscillating around right now. Probably, I'd say within the next 2 days, if you see any sort of a closure basically above that region, I'll be looking for another retest of this high. I mean, I'll be looking for that divergence to play out regardless. Short term, is there any sort of downside here? Maybe a little bit. I mean, 4 hour did have a bit of a death cross, although it's certainly not a perfect one. I would say that that's not really a good playable one. Ultimately, though, I'd go with the rest of the market, man. I do think that this one is actually pops back up to like 11,250 and probably just goes for another continuation drive. Volume signature is very much indicative that this is a reaccumulation formation again at the highs, which is typically a good thing. Okay, cool. Hambone says, thanks for the TIA explanation. All good, man. Yes, I can navigate an exchange. Can you look at BPRO BTC, 4-hour daily KuCoin? All right. BPRO. That's a great name. And he said versus Bitcoin, actually. Okay, cool. On KuCoin. Oh, wow. Very shitty chart right here. Very shitty chart. Obviously a pump and dump once again, but is this one getting ready for another pump phase? Well, I think you actually just had the pump phase. A lot of obvious selling here, but short term, does it rally back up? Yes, I do think so. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing back up towards like 45 or 4,600 Satoshis. There is one obvious area on this one, which would be your 4,600 Satoshi region right here, this last little local high on a 4 hour. If you see any sort of a price action back above there, I'd be looking for this one to essentially come back up and test around, what are current highs? Yeah, about 6,000 Satoshis, and probably have another continuation phase. Long term, though, I'm always going to be skeptical of a chart that looks, like this, or this is what your chart actually looks like. I'm very skeptical of something that looks like this, to be honest with you. But like I said, similar to 2017, everyone kind of gets to rally if they're involved in this market. And the real skill within the next, I would say 6 months to maybe even a year is going to be judging when that next major high goes in. So, everything kind of gets a free ride right now. And this one's this one's very likely no different. New 510 says, Krown bro, fraction Ethereum is called GWEI. That sounds like bullshit, man. I'm gonna be using butyrols, sir. None of that garbage over here. Fuck all that noise. And let's see what Dan Henderson has to say. He says EOS BTC 4-hour daily prees. Sir, why are you laughing? Why are you giggling, sir? Elsa thinks it's funny that your last name is Henderson because there's this guy that I used to watch on YouTube that talks about I don't even know what the fuck he talks about taxes mostly like offshore taxes, and he goes, this is Andrew Henderson with Nomad Capitalist, and today we're going to be talking about the tax situation in Bermuda. He's pretty fucking boring, to be honest with you, but he does have some pretty damn good information, and I actually would strongly suggest him if you are looking into such things. Wow, shittiest chart of the day award goes to EOS. You get 5 out of 5 with the side of wow. We've looked at a lot of shitcoins today, guys, and this one's definitely the shittiest. Has never had a sustained rally. Not even fucking once. Not even fucking once. Now, you do see a little bit of a change of behavior. Volume signature down here. Probably is going to rally. I mean, to be fair, it does have some bullish evidence coming off the lows. Probably does rally back up to like 1150-ish region. But holy fuck! Does this thing suck? Jesus, man. When everything else gets to rally and your piece of shit is not rallying, that is not a good sign, sir. That is really not a good sign. Pretty fucking bad, man. Pretty fucking bad. The problem with EOS is there's actually a couple of people who I really respect, and they actually love EOS for whatever reason, like fundamentally speaking. Fair enough. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm looking at technical specifically. Yeah, it's probably going to rally, to be fair. Everything in this market gets to rally, but god damn, man, this is just like, look, when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of shitcoins that are, mooning basically off of just fucking having a white paper and being involved in this market, and then you got this going red dildos all the way to fucking the Earth's core. You don't have to trade this, man. You don't have to trade this. I mean, this one's literally even below ICO dumps, it looks like. Very, very bad. Like, in a more sincere tone, this is the worst chart of the day. This is the worst chart I've seen in a while now. And while, like I said, it's very likely to rally, it's going to be considered relatively weak, and it will probably rally in the last sort of batch of shitcoins. And I'd imagine that the upside is very much limited. I mean, this thing only fucking sells, man. Everyone's looking to sell this one. It looks like very fucking bad, very, very bad. In a more serious tone, it's actually like very awful. Stephen O'Connell says, what does he say? Polygon, sir. I need a symbol and a time frame and a base pairing, but you know what? I'm just going to make it up for you. All right, Okay, no, you said Polygon, so maybe Poly is not it. All right. Polygon. All right, there it is. Oh, this is Matic. All right. Wow. Poloniex and HitBTC. This thing's really been pushed out of the market. But hey, compare that last shit chart with this not so shit chart. Pretty fucking good, actually. Now, I don't know anything about Poly or Polygon or whatever the fuck, but this one probably does rally back up towards like 41 cents region. Probably makes new highs on that one as well. Hidden bullish evidence come off the low. Oh, that seems rather familiar towards just about everything else that we've looked at today. That isn't a complete piece of shit, and even the jewels kind of rallying off of are kind of hitting a bit of a fib support right there too. So I do like that. Alexander Telvetsky says, hey Eric, GRT USD please. Okay, let's check it out. GRT USD. I guess Binance is going to be the one for this one, and for the information that we do have, which isn't all that much, I'd be looking for this one to do the same thing as most of the things that we've seen in this market thus far. Again, just kind of doing more. This one's more falling under the guise of market analysis rather than just like specific analysis here. I'd be looking for this one to likely pop back up towards 212, 215 region. Anywhere above 215 on a daily closure, I'd be looking for new all-time highs on this one. No real targets to give on this because I really don't trust things that don't have that much history. But, I'm never going to hate something that's above all major moving averages while they have a positive slope, albeit we don't even have enough history here to populate a 200 simple, for example. So not even 200 days trading here. Not necessarily the best, the best history, to be honest with you. But for what it's worth, the history that we do have is actually quite good. G-Dub says, bring back the S-Coin police. Oh, they're right here, man. They're on standby. We got the Shitcoin police on standby, baby. Show me those shitcoins. I'm ready. I'm fucking ready. Robert Johnson says, Tesla police, sir. We actually looked at that one a couple times earlier. I'll look at it one more time. But I can't promise you that the analysis has changed at all because it's quite literally not trading right now, man. Traditional markets are not open here. Anyways, let's see. Short term, would I be looking for a bit of a bouncy bounce here? I mean, most of the market does kind of want to bounce, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one come back down to like 560, but ultimately, I do think that this is going to try to put in a bit of a low structure there. Now, I do think it is worth mentioning on the weekly. This is the one of the few stocks right now that I do think is actually looking like legitimately toppy. I wouldn't be surprised to see, a move down a little bit below $500, but ultimately, I'd give it a chance to bounce first. Monthly is still fine, kind of, not really, but kind of. Does have major bearish divergence here, and typically my target is going to be the 21 in this case, and I don't know, that would be quite the move down. So I'd really want to see the monthly close on this one before I talk about higher term timeframes, which is only just a couple days away here. But as far as the daily goes, I'd have no problems switching around to be bullish once again with any sort of a move back above 700. But momentum also to say downside here. Hidden bearish divergence 1-2 drives plus daily TSI having a fresh cross to the downside in the bearish zone. I favor the short term downside probably back down to like 560 to 550ish region. Natalie Edwards says derp Cardano USD 4-hour daily Binance sip water please derp. It's good to meet you, Natalie. Obviously Australian, so you're probably going to be cool. That's usually my experience with Australian people. Very laid back, very very normal, especially for the ones who travel. But the ones who stay there, I'm not so sure about. I'm told that it's not necessarily the same for that. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. Let's go look at Cardano derp on actually not Kraken. That would not be the best place to be going to. Let's go to Binance for this one. Looks good here. I'd be looking for another move back up to like 135, 136 region. Does this one set it up for another continuation drive? Probably yes. Nice little obvious range. Areas of interest to the upside on a breakout. Short term would be like 155. More long term would be like $2 actually, so not bad. Again, hinging on kind of the breakout above this region right here at about 135, like I said. Yeah, about 135. Ultimately looks good. The daily TSI has gone for a bit of a bullish reset. Gonna have a chance to cross the upside here as well with any sort of a closure above about 129.5 region. So I'd be looking at that as like an early continuation point. Obviously, same thing on daily RSI here. 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. Usually gonna be a good thing, especially when you're putting in a consolidation around your all-time highs. Yeah, going to be pretty good here. So Cardano derp getting to very likely to continue the overall rally. Derp. All right, let's check it out. Let's see. Jesus Christ, man. Oh my God. Theta overbought, sir. There's no such thing as overbought or oversold, man. I can assure you of that. Allie Harris. Allie Harris. Hey, are you Miss Allie? Are you the Miss Allie? Accurate assessment, though. It's true. I've had a lot of experience with Australians. They are pretty fucking cool, though. Very, very laid back and chilled out. Although I hear it's not the best place to go out on like a fucking Saturday Eve, Here, King's Cross is quite the place. Anyways, can you look at Nvidia? Says Pablo South. Yeah, actually, this one's pretty damn fun actually. Although I, although I shudder to trade it myself, to be honest with you. This one moves around a lot, which is actually not what I want in a stock, to be honest with you. Like things that range. You know, this one not so much of a ranger. This one's certainly a trender here, but like a violent trender, that is. High or low plus, I'm gonna guess. Oh, actually no. No divergences there. Interesting, very interesting. But you know, I'm always going to favor a bounce off the 200 simple on the first pass. I'd be looking for a continuation of bounce back up to like 525, 530-ish region. Although no real calls on whether I expect this one to continue or not from there. My main pivot to the upside would be 534 to the upside. That's like obvious, you know, continuation medium term to, you know, deeper 500s like 575 to $600, and probably just continuation overall. By the same token, to the downside, obvious continuation below basically not Friday low but Thursday low right here. Sorry, and not even the low, but just about open at about 497 region, it looks like. Basically 500 we'll call it. Yeah, fair enough on that one. What I'm doing right now says Tesla, please. Just kidding. You got me, sir. You got me. Just wanted to say thanks for the consistent TA content. Appreciate that, man. My pleasure. You know, again, you know, I always feel like it's important for me to kind of push that back as well, because, or not necessarily push it back, but express gratitude, but at the same time saying like, hey, man, you know, I actually get a lot of that, a lot out of this myself. I mean, not only, you know, are these super chats nice, of course, but at the same time, more importantly, when I look at more of these things across the board, it gives me a greater understanding of what the world markets are doing. Because typically speaking, you know, I'm only looking at a few different things, you know, typically the things that I show in the standalone videos. And so doing these videos actually kind of brought back a lot to my own analysis and a lot to my own edge, because I got to, you know, I get a greater view of things. On top of that, when I actually explain my sort of thought processes on these sorts of, you know, well, I mean, anything really, just as far as any sort of strategy goes, it actually deepens my own understanding as well. So it's actually very much a two-way street, man. So I'm more than happy to do this, as it seems like it's valuable for both myself and hopefully for you as well, sir. Winning Choice 87 says best intro ever. Thanks, man. Can we do your favorite car dealership against Bitcoin on the 4-hour and daily? Thanks. Sure, man. So we looked at it versus USD. It's looking pretty damn good. Whoops, I almost did the same thing there. But let's look at it versus Bitcoin. So we're basically measuring its strength versus Bitcoin, obviously. Looks pretty good here too. Obvious higher low once again. Hidden bullish evidence coming off the low. Daily TSI is not just a bullish reset. It's a bullish reset plus a bullish cross here, and also playing out the same trend line from November lows. I like this one quite a fair bit, man. If I had to call this one right now, I would not be surprised to see it at all whatsoever to gun back up towards like 2,500 Satoshis, you know, medium term. Long term, does it get another continuation phase? Probably yes, to be honest with you. But at the very least, short term, medium term, I'd be favoring the upside here. Looks good for the information that we do have. You said daily and 4-hour. We'll look at a 4-hour really quick. 4-hour structure, pretty easy, 2,400 to the upside. So I'd be looking at that as a bit of a continuation point towards basically your prior time at about 3,000. Or is this prior time highs? I don't know if it's prior time highs, but it'd be about 3,000 Satoshis. Oh wow, it's nowhere near prior time highs, in fact. But you know, if you are familiar with Wyckoff, here's your accumulation phase right here between about July 2019 and January 2021. Here's your sort of first markup, and this is very much looking like reaccumulation. So it very likely does get more continuation on the whole. All right, cool. Sultan Nigas says, H-bar, please. Okay. H-bar, no base pairing, no time frame. So I'm just going to make it up as I go then. How about that? I'm going to go with a Bitcoin pairing on Binance. And I'm going to look at the daily, and looking pretty fucking good here. Again, altcoins getting free rides. This one looking like it actually wants to maybe even break out today. Another bullish cross on TSI. It looks like it's inbound. Daily RSI, a little bit of hidden bullish evidence coming off that last low. Usually going to be a damn good continuation signal. Golden cross on the daily as well. Very likely does get another move back up towards probably like Satoshis, if I had to guess. Looks pretty fucking good. Mark Reed says, where's Omar? Omar! Send smoke signal, sir! Show feet, sir! There you go. Okay, cool. Hey, and by the way, guys, I should warn you, you know, if you're going to spam like the same ticker over and over again, the mods will probably time you out. And it's not because like we fucking hate you or anything like that. It's simply because like it just makes it really annoying for everyone else when someone like just spams, essentially saying like, you know, I don't give a fuck what anyone else what anyone else says or the conversations that other people are having. I just want, you know, to be heard in that regard. So again, nothing personal, but, you know, we do want to make sure that the community is like, well, you know, staying nice and healthy. OMG says, hi, Krown, can you please do FNKO stock 24-hour, please? All right, we got Oh, nice. Okay, we got a stock, we got a time frame, and you know, this is obvious change of behavior right here. Obvious change of behavior. I'd be looking for this one to give another try to the upside this week. I know you asked about daily specifically, but the weekly is looking like continuation here. A bit of a climax on volume, to be fair, but when we go back down to the daily, it's very obviously you know, getting reaccumulated. I mean, that volume climax is quite literally on a higher low. Kind of hard to hate that, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing actually reapproach the highs of this run. Maybe even this week. We'll see what the monthly looks like. Monthly looks like this one's actually probably just gonna monthly looks like it's probably just gonna continue long term to like $25 and maybe even beyond into April, which you did not ask about, but it sounds like you're maybe more on the higher term timeframes here. Ultimately, the main message that I want to have on this one is continuation. It looks good. It looks good, at least for the information that we do have there. New 510 says, okay, Krown bro. All right, new bro. I'm ready, sir. How much do we need to donate for you to do a 24-hour marathon TA stream? I mean, like, to be honest with you, I'm not saying this to sound like a fucking I'm not saying this sound like a like unappreciative, but I'm actually a lot less motivated by money because I don't really need a whole hell of a lot anymore. Like, I probably will do a 24-hour stream at some point. Would it be just TA? I don't think so, man, because I don't think I can talk for 24 hours without like blowing out my fucking heads. And honestly, if you listen to me for 24 hours, you should probably blow out your brains too, because I think by like hour 2 or 3, you're gonna be like, holy shit, this guy is annoying as fuck. He has a raspy lesbian voice, and his curly hair is fucking distracting. I hate Krown, and he should die. And then I'd be like, all right, well, I don't blame you. Actually, don't blame you. Elsa thinks that's funny, and you know what's not funny? You disgust me. Fucking, this is my girlfriend of 4 years, laughing at my impending doom. Yeah, she thinks that's really good. Abbott Dynamic Design and Manufacturing LLC says, thanks for everything, Krown. Enjoy the rain walk. Appreciate that, brother. Actually, major appreciation. That was so nice. Appreciate that, man. Elsa, stop. But yeah, man, I could probably do like a gaming stream for a day. Even then, though, man, I don't know. Yeah, Elsa says no, he couldn't. maybe if it was like Microsoft Flight Simulator, because that one's that one can really eat up the hours there. But yeah, man, I think we'll probably start to wrap things up here. We're about an hour and 30 minutes into this. Okay, let's see. Kendrick Camp says, "Oh my God, that's a great idea. How many plantains? Plantains? What does that even mean, man?" Hey, Krown, when Elsa 20,000 NFT NFT titties? I don't know. Do you want to have your titties in an art format for non-fungible token, sir? Exactly. She said, "What the fuck?" I don't even know what that means, man. All right, 1776. I'd rather take the moon boots. All right, fair enough. Fair enough, sir. 1776 says, Arc Daily. Okay, is this with a 2Ks or did you misspell? Okay, ARKK. Okay, it has 10%. Okay, so it's gonna be this one, yeah. You got puts and you're looking at a daily. I mean, you kind of had your chance to get out of those puts right here, man. Now, I would say you do have some good things going for you, but I always want to be closing long puts around the 200 simple and 200 exponential average, assuming that I have long puts. In this case, you know, you do have a few things going your way. You do have a fresh bearish cross on TSI. You do have hidden bearish divergence 1-2 derives on the daily RSI as well. So if this one is going to keel on over, this would be a decent setup for it. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing try a little bit of a bounce first and foremost. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one bounce up to about 120. But here's the thing, man. Above 120, I really wouldn't be bearish anymore. So, you know, it's kind of like you're holding on for that continuation drive without confirmation of the continuation, which is usually against my rules, but you don't have to have the same rules as me, obviously. But you know, I think you kind of got your obvious chance to get out of those right there, man. To be honest with you, you know, you're probably going to open this week on a bounce. So is that bounce going to lead into a bit of reversal? I mean, as long as you're below 120, I do favor the downside, I suppose. But I just feel like I'm obligated to kind of say, like, look, man, when you come down to major levels like this, that's like an obvious, you know, take profit. At least for myself, that is one of my big rules. I don't hold shorts. I don't hold shorts into like the 200 into like the 200 moving average. Pretty much ever. That's always like a take profit area. No, my paper says Polkadot, USD, daily Binance. All right. I see a few more here, but I do want us to wrap this one up a little bit soonish. Dot USD Binance. Looks very similar to most of the other coins that we've seen today. Probably does join in the general rally. This one's been one of the better ones over a long period of time. However, there is one thing that is a little bit concerning here on the 4-hour, which you did not ask for, but I do think that it's worth mentioning. 4-hour is going to potentially have a death cross here. So that means one of two things. And a lot of the time you will see something similar to this. And I can show you something that's going to be like a clear and obvious bullish signal. If you see any sort of a 4-hour dildo closure, especially above 33 and like 40 cents or so, this one's going to very likely pop back up to the prior all-time high and probably continue on from there, to be honest with you as well. If you get the death cross officially, before that does happen, I'd be looking at another run first to about 29 3/4 and probably bounce there and then judge it after that. But for right now, this is like this is like your this is like a traditional trappy trap area for bears who are looking at short-term time frames. So it is actually, you know, more or less a bullish signal if that condition is met, like a very obvious one. And I'd have no problem targeting like, you know, 38 plus after that point. This would look pretty damn good if that condition was met. Raven BTC says, J Boogie. What's up, Mr. Boogie? All right, RVN BTC. Okay, Raven Coin, Binance, and yeah, I remember this bullshit. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, we got another shitty chart. But short term, you know, does it continue the rally? Very likely, yes, man. You know, very likely. I mean, the whole market's kind of rallying. The whole market kind of just gets a free ride right now. It's not the most obvious chart of all time, but when we look at the general market, I'm more inclined to kind of respect the current medium-term time frame uptrend. You know, we got higher lows on that trend line right there. Obviously, you got a nice little resistance right there on the reaccumulation. I mean, this would once again kind of fit into the narrative of Wyckoff reaccumulation. I'd probably be looking for a short-term move up to like 400 Satoshi. Probably continues, you know, towards the high of this run as well. Long-term, you know, but like very long-term, is this pumping up? Yeah, of course it's fucking pumping up. Most things in this market are pumps and dumps. But does this one get some more tries to the upside first? Probably yes. The only way that I really switched to being bearish on this one, and it's actually pretty easy to get bearish on this one, would be below 330 Satoshis. 330 Satoshis, and I would be looking for a big red dildo party to begin. Probably even all the way back down to 200 Satoshis, but I don't necessarily think that that's what's happening here. Given the given the what the fuck is going on there? Are there like actual shillers here? What the hell's going on? Oh, the word of Jesus is here. God is here? Are you Bula Jesus? Saint Gregory, is that you? What is Bula Jesus like? How big is that girthy green dildo, sir? Could you please tell me what he... Can you please tell me? What is Bula Jesus packing, baby? I want to know the good word. Prayer to avoid the sin of pride. My Jesus, help me to avoid the sin of pride when I speak in your name. That's right. Bula Jesus, forgive me of my bearish sins. I, sir, will never press the red button again. Two ladies banned. We just banned Jesus? Fuck! Yan Yao says, can you check out BTC USD with your lesbian voice and curly hair, please, sir? Yeah, we'll wrap it up soon enough. I want to get through these last comments here just so I can make sure that everyone's like taken care of before we get in there. Kevin fucking one says, now that you say it, your curly head is distracting as fuck. I want to pet. Yes, it's like a little chia plant that grows when you don't really want it to, and I fucking hate it actually. Really annoying. Justin Tafoya, thanks for that, man. Feel free to send a message though, but actually that would perfectly. Oh, nope, we got one more. Dude Daddy says seller USDT Binance 4 hours CELR. I believe this one is another 2017 shitcoin. Let's see how this one's doing. At 4 hour. All right. Well, daily looks good here, at least for what I'm seeing right now. Yep, daily is very good. So I'm imagining that the 4 hour is probably good as well. 4 hour is good. 4 hours very good, actually. Let's see. Do we have any areas of interest to the upside? I imagine we do. Actually, at the 1 spot 414, basing a bit right there. Any sort of a breakout above, what is this, 10 cents? Yeah, above 10 cents, and I'd be targeting moves towards like 12 to 12 and a half region. That'd be my next sort of area of interest. 4 hour looks more or less like continuation here. Obvious range too. You know, I have no problem being bullish on this one as long as it holds that last higher low at like 8.5 cents. Looks like. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. We got the green light from Mr. New 510. We got the green light from Mr. Yan Yao. I think it's time, my friends. I think it's time indeed. All right, let's go back to Bitcoin here. Let's go back to the old Bitcoin shitcoin. Did we already play that downside move? Is that what's happening right here? Okay, so I think what I want to start off with as we wrap this bitch up once again Yeah, start off with the daily, and let's go over here and go back to CME and go on to the daily as well. All right, Bitcoin CME opening on a nice little gap to the upside. However, I would be favoring a little bit of short-term downside. Just come back down, fill that gap. Nice little common play, which is pretty much right in line with the 20 simple right here, right about 54,500-ish region, give or take a few bucks, especially given the premium on futures versus spot price action. If we go down to the lower term timeframes over here, we can see, or actually before we go to the lower term timeframes, should be denoted that daily Bitcoin does have hidden bullish divergence coming off the low, which is more or less good. Daily TSI is kind of setting up for a bit of a bullish reset here too. However, still going to take its time. I imagine that is going to speak to the greater range. And then on top of that, we do have, well, quite literally a higher low as the jewel does level out around that fib support region. On top of that, going back to our secondary charts over here, it should be denoted that the DMI plus is in its infancy as having a dominant, a DMI plus dominant signal plus ADX strengthening as well. Typically going to be a pretty damn good thing. And even the MACD histogram does have hidden bullish divergence here, ever so slightly, but it does exist right there. So all of these kind of supporting further continuation to the upside overall, like a bullish bias coming into the monthly close here on Wednesday, Thursday. On top of that, we do see that daily Stokes for CME do have a nice little regression coming in from our essentially March 2020 lows. That would be your coronavirus dump times, getting the major lows in September, getting the major lows in February, January, and of course earlier in March as well. And where is it coming in around right now? It's probably coming in around the edge of the bearish control zone, which is kind of a typical obvious area for a bit of a counter trend pressure right there. Anyways, that is a bit obtuse to what we see in the short-term timeframes for Bitcoin right now. Actually might be changing around my analysis on this one depending upon how Bitcoin holds up on this 4 hour currently. So with that said, we technically do have hidden bearish divergence right here. Is that present on CME? Actually, yes, but it's not looking like it wants to play out, to be honest with you. It's actually, it's really starting to look like it doesn't want to play out. The problem is, or it's not necessarily a problem, but there's a couple of obvious continuation points here. Does Bitcoin get back above last Friday high for CME? That would be, or was that last Friday? Oh, sorry, no, that was CME open for this week. That is anywhere above 56,325. Anywhere above there, I would be essentially looking at this one to have a continuation phase and kind of complete the inverted head and shoulders that we look at on spot price action right here between this one, left shoulder head, and proverbial right shoulder over here. Although I do think still Bitcoin, could very easily come back down somewhere around 54, 53, 53,000. But it's again, the higher term time frames are taking over here. It looks like to me. I really have no real reason to be bearish on Bitcoin as long as it's holding this higher low from 51.5 on spot price action. So, do I kind of revise my thoughts on the short term, having a little bit of downside? I mean, we did kind of play out some downside there all the way just below 55. Is it relevant to say that's already played out? Maybe, maybe not. I don't really have strong opinions on that. Again, my strong opinion in a more sincere tone is the medium and higher term timeframes here. Because short-term timeframes are kind of flip-flopping around. We're just not seeing the same thing on CMEs, which leads me to believe that probably does not play out in that fashion. In fact, if we go over here to CME lower term timeframes, momentum oscillator is actually pointed nice and northwards here. Now there is a competing trend line going in from our last few highs in early March to mid-March, and we're going to be testing that probably on the next tick. So that would actually be another good and early warning signal. If Bitcoin basically breaks above this region right here on CMEs, which should lead into and probably precipitate any other signals, then I'd very likely be looking for Bitcoin to take out this last prior high at about 56.5, and then natural target's going to be just a nice float up to about 59 or 60,000 bucks essentially, and that's going to really start to make this whole thing look like one massive ascending triangle, of which the ascending triangle does have a measure move all the way up to about 69,000 bucks, if and when you do get the bullish resolution above the 2.618 Fibonacci extension right here at about 50, just below 59,000 bucks actually. So all of that essentially working with each other. Again, short term, do I think Bitcoin can come a little bit down? Maybe, yeah, I do. I do think that is still available here, but ultimately, it's a higher term time frames that I'm really focused on right now. So with that said, I do want to wish you the best and the happiest. It's been an absolute ball of a time on this nice Monday morning. I want to salute you, and I will be back on later with some more short term analysis, a little bit of a follow up. So with that said, take care and see you.